Hello, I am your humble host, Phys Ed Music, and this right here is Urban Politics. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday. I'm looking at my watch, afternoon, but it'll probably reach you on a Monday morning, real nice and early. Let's go ahead and get right into it because there's tons of delicious politics to sink our teeth into. So let's get right into it like a car and drive. I wanted to talk about a guy who I actually admire. I've been watching this show for years. I always preface my critiques of this guy with that. You know what I'm saying? I've been watching Bill Maher for years. I don't think he's a bad guy, but once again, he said something. I think he's off the mark, so I wanted to have a discussion right here with him about it. Bill Maher is mad at the NFL for playing the Black National Anthem. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a song called Lift Every Voice and Sing. And he says it's segregation under a different name. Now, when he says that, I think to myself, here's a guy who doesn't get segregation. Doesn't get, for him to say that. But let me keep going. He said we all know about the race, or I'm saying. These are my words now. We all know about the racist history behind the Star Spangled Banner, right? So I don't understand why it's such a big deal that they want to play this at NFL games. Now let me go all the way back and start by saying, those of you who watch the show, those of you who know me in real life know that I do not mess with sports at all. At all. I've never really seen that much interest in it. My kids play sports, so I go to games. You know what I mean? My oldest Khalil, he was really, really good at football. He's pretty good at basketball too in his day. So you know what I'm saying? I've gone, and went to my kids' sports games. But have I ever gotten to football or basketball like some of my partners do? No, that's just not me. I've always been into music and politics. And that's been about it. You know what I'm saying? And most people who know me know that. So as I'm talking about this stuff, know that I really don't know too much of what I'm talking about. Because whenever I get into sports, it's always like if Kaepernick, when it's something, it has something to do with social issues or social justice, then I take an interest in sports, probably because it's melding with, political issues, right? So that's interesting to me, though, because we all know the racist background of the Star Spangled Banner, right? It's been talked about ad nauseum. I've talked about it on this show. They talked about it on CNN. They talked about it on MSNBC. They've talked about it on TikTok. They've talked about it on Facebook. So come on now. We all know about the racist language that's in the song. But if you still insist on playing that at NFL games, okay, fine. Why do you have a problem with Lift Every Voice and Sing sharing that same space? And that's what gets on my nerves really about this whole thing, because then he goes on to say that, we have separate dances for black people. I don't agree with that. We have separate dorms for black people. I don't agree with that. But he said, I do think that we should have one national anthem. Okay, Bill, but why does it have to be the national anthem that you decide? See, that's what's interesting. Sometimes when the powers that be are always like, everything needs to be, we all need to come together and have one thing. Why does it always have to be the one thing that they decide? How about this, Mr. Maher? If we need one national anthem, how about it be the Black National Anthem? Now, he even went on to say that, he said, I'm not even sure that the Star Spangled Banner or whatever should be, spoke or whatever, or, sang at these games, but I think we should have one, and then I'm like, okay, fine, but okay, then why can't it be, the Black National Anthem? Why can't it be that one? Okay, if even you agree that it needs to change, why can't it be that one? See, that's my point. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pathetic, but that really gets on my nerves how, when they talk about, let's come together, and it's like, nah, really what you mean is let's keep doing what we've been doing, which was your way, because you like your way and you are more comfortable with your way. And then they get in talking about he's been coming after the left a lot. Well, like I said, I don't think Bill's a bad guy, but I think he's just off the mark with some of this stuff. His age might have something to do with it. And I'm not hating. I ain't no young guy either, but I'm just saying. Anyway, moving on. That's the problem right there. When you're used to having everything your way all the time, when you're used to always making the rules, you get so threatened that something else wants to share space with that. Why would you have a problem? Okay, if you don't want to replace the Star Spangled Banner with the Black National Anthem? Why do you have a problem with both of them being played at a game? Who cares? Who cares? Why is that such a big deal? How about this? Couldn't you at least sit there and put your try and walk a mile in a person of color shoes and say to yourself, well, they probably feel like that Star Spangled Banner, it does have some racist language in it, but for whatever reason, most of America wants to hold tight to it and keep playing it at sports events. Can we at least play a song that says some positive things about us, that also has some positive things in it about people of color or whatnot? Why can't those two things share a space? Why are people threatened by that? Ask yourself that, Mr. Maurer. So there's that, you know what I'm saying? But once again, I don't get into sports. So I would say anybody who's black and still watching the NFL should probably have their head examined. Why would I say that? Because of other things I've talked about on here about the NFL, how black players continue to get cheated out of CTC funds. I think I talked about that at least last show or show before last about how, they've done a test and made sure the black players get cheated out of these funds that they know that all players are eligible for, because all of these guys go crazy from getting banged around the field, so many times and getting hit in the head, so they're so that's the thing too. So these people of color who will probably get hurt playing this game, right, and will probably hurt their significant other, because domestic violence is high with these guys, will probably go out and commit some violence or a heinous act in their community. They can't even get access to funds that they get to somewhat offset that, also because of the color of their skin. This is your NFL. See what I'm saying? And that's why I've never been a fan of it. But now I really have. I got no time or respect for the NFL. So there's that. So that blows me away while that's going on. They were saying that the NFL is only even going to play the Black National Anthem before certain games. I think there was a Buccaneers game a little while ago when they had Alicia Keys singing. This is the one that Bill Maher is referring to. And they were saying that the NFL will do this before certain games as a part of the league's 10-year, $250 million pledge to fight racism. Really? So I guess they're saying after 10 years... and $250 million, racism will be eradicated. And the NFL will do it. All they need is 10 years and $250 million. Really? Okay. The NFL will also promote social justice through, this blew me away, check this out, signs, player helmet decals, and PSAs, which is public service announcements. Wow. Really? So that's how you're going to get rid of racism? You won't pay these brothers what they're due because they sustain extreme mental damage and hardship behind this game that they play. You won't give them the same pay that you'll give a white player, but you will put some decals on a helmet. Really? You will you will do some public service announcements. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? And once again, if that sits right with you as a fan of the NFL and you are black, please check yourself before you wreck yourself. Anyway, moving on, because I might just lost some friends with that segment. Anyway, moving on. Let's get local, baby. I want to talk about local issues. The Justice Department agrees to review the Columbus, Ohio police after fatal shootings. Mayor Ginther and City Attorney Zach Klein requested it in response to shootings like Andre Hill in December and Micaiah Bryant in April. Elaine Bryant, chief of police, she had said that it would help provide the department with an opportunity to grow, build, and improve. This right here is extremely positive. I like the fact that, you know what I'm saying, Mayor Ginther and City Attorney Zach Klein, they requested it. And they were saying it wasn't just these two shootings that were heinous shootings. If you don't remember them, please, you know what I'm saying, Google these names right here so that you can remember. Andre Hill, say his name, that was in December, and Micaiah Bryant, say her name, that was in April. Both of them, I mean, those, I don't have time to go into it right now, but I'm sure I talked about both of them on the show. But yeah, definitely, Google those names and see what happened to those individuals. And it was done by the Columbus Police Department. So they were saying it's not just issues like that or those two particular incidences, but there are other incidences that also are calling them to do this. Also, you know what I'm saying? Keep it real. When I put my political hat on, it's just like this lady, Miss Bryant, said. Really, they're just trying to get a clean slate with the people, And there was a time there that I thought the Columbus Police Department wasn't that bad, but I come to find out that there was a whole lot of unsolved shootings and stuff like that going on. So, yeah, you know what I mean? They've had some rough patches, some rough instances with the community. So they're looking to do like Mr. Biden and build back better. You see, they got a new chief of police. Miss Lady is like, hey, we're under new management. Let the world know. And that's a good way to do that. When you get, when you get the federal government involved and have that Justice Department come in and do an investigation or whatnot of the department to make sure everything is on the up and up. And if it ain't, weed out the bad actors in there. That's good right there. And that does restore faith in the police department with the community. I still stand on what I've always stand on. We don't need to defund the police, but we definitely could take some of the funding that these police departments are getting and put it into social issues. I am a social worker by trade, so I might be biased, but I'm just being honest. Take some of that money, put it into youth at risk counseling. Take some of that money, put it into LGBTQ counseling. Take some of that money and put it into domestic violence counseling. See what I'm saying? If we attack some of these social issues, you won't need a heavy police presence all the time or influence, right? All right, so moving on. Now I want to talk about another hot button issue as of late, abortion. The Texas abortion ban circumvents Roe versus Wade. It just went right around it. That's what they did. They say, oh, here's Roe versus Wade. We're just going to sidestep that law. It's been on the books forever and do what we want to do. 6-3 Supreme Court decision to let the Texas law stand down party lines. You've seen that coming. If you haven't seen that coming, you have not been paying attention, okay? They've been trying to get the court conservative. That's the reason why people were even tripping about, remember when Joe Biden was running for president, they were talking about, he's talking about he'll pack the courts. Well, they're so afraid that he'll pack the court because if they add more Supreme Court people, which there's nothing in the Constitution saying they couldn't do that, but if they did that, then you wouldn't have this 6-3, conservative majority you have. Because you got 6 conservatives on there and you got 3 liberals. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when a lot of these laws go up the food chain as they do and the buck stops at the Supreme Court? What do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen is the conservative will, right? Because the conservatives have the majority up there and they wanted that. So when they got Amy Coney Barrett in there, when they got Kavanaugh in there, that's what all this was about. That's what all this was about, right? So you could have seen the writing on the wall. It is what it is. They're coming after abortion. They're coming after voting rights. And they're going to come after a whole bunch of other stuff too. Just sit back and watch that. This law turns regular citizens into bounty hunters, allows private citizens to sue doctors, clinic staff, and anyone aiding an abortion. They were saying it could even go so far as to sue a cab driver if he knew that he was taking a woman to an abortion clinic and what she was, trying to do at this clinic. They were saying that even the cab driver could be sued, which I think is redunculous, but oh well. They passed it in the dead of night. Quietly, like Republicans like to do, like a thief in the night is how they pass this thing, with a shadow docket. No oral argument, less than 3 days. There was one paragraph even explaining it or talking about it. Man, they did this low key. They did this like some criminals. They really did. And I mean, they kill me, always trying to build themselves as the God party or the most upstanding party or, the party of free government and all this other stuff. But you do stuff like this. I mean, and we're truly, We're truly the many led by the few, right? Because right here, look, 59% of Americans say abortion should be legal in almost all cases. That's, 59% is more than 50%. So that's a majority of Americans saying abortion should be legal in almost all cases. And I've seen numbers even higher than that. So that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But so why is it that these people would sit there and circumvent Roe versus Wade? It's been on the books forever, okay? And it had made abortion legal in most states. But you have these, and it's mostly conservatives. I mean, I haven't seen any Democrats doing this. Coming up with these laws to stop women from getting abortions. And there's a whole lot of arguments for, against it. But it's interesting how it always seems to be these men who are, these conservative men who are trying to tell women what they can and can't do with their bodies, right? Because they're the only people who can have babies. So abortion is really a woman's issue, isn't it? But I digress. Anyway, moving on. This whole law will only make it harder for black and brown women to get abortions. And Samantha Bee with Full Frontal, her show is Full Frontal. That's a good show. I pump it up here all the time. I love watching it. She was even saying that. That's, she said because the rich white women, they'll still be able to get this procedure. I forget what they call it, but it's not an abortion, but it is an abortion. But they'll still be able to get that. They were saying that some of these congressmen, they'll still make sure that their porno star girlfriends can get their abortions. So people who got bread and private doctors and stuff like that, they're still going to be getting abortions, but just a whole lot of poor, people of color, women of color, will no longer have access, to abortion. So that is what it is. No one should be forced to give birth. Abortion is health care. See, and then I got to think about this, and look at it through a woman's eyes. That is, and I sit here and I'm like, yeah, I think that's true. I think I agree with that. No one should be forced to give birth. I think it was Ginsburg, and I'm paraphrasing here. I'd seen her where she had said something like, having a child is so important, a big decision for a woman because this is something that's going to change her life. And then when I think about it, when I think about the women in my life, when I think about my mom, you know what I'm thinking, and I think about the mother of my son, and I think about, having a child and being a mother, that's a huge undertaking. That is a huge undertaking. I mean, that ain't nothing that you do haphazardly, right? And I understand, too, that women are people. So, just like a man to go out and he'll just be, feeling depressed or whatever one night, and maybe he just went out here and just went out to a bar and he just met up with somebody and did all types of crazy stuff. And then in the morning he wakes up and says, oh, man, I hope I didn't catch nothing. You a man, that's all you got to worry about. I hope I didn't catch nothing. You a woman, you might, oh, man, I hope I'm not pregnant. And if I am, now I got to deal with that. And it's a lot, try and, just put that on a woman, because that's a regular human thing. Everybody makes mistakes, but to make it to where she can't come back from this type of mistake, I don't think that's fair. Abortion is health care. Yeah, some of that is women's health care. That's why I've always went on record on this show as saying, when it comes to abortion, we need to just put all the women into a room. They discuss amongst each other how they want to handle that thing, and then they come out and tell us men, and we write the law, and there it is. Or they help write the law. We all write the law together, and we're done with it. Because men do not have babies. That's it. So I really don't even understand why men are so heavy into this argument. I do. And a piece of it is about controlling women. George Carlin did say that. He said the Republican Party hates women. He said they've always hated women. It's interesting because, my goodness, man. This really does look just so, intrusive. It's just all up in women's business, So, and I remember, I think years ago, maybe I saw Hillary Clinton, and she said that an abortion, that is a decision that is between a woman's doctor, her family, and her God. Some of that, you know what I'm saying? Nobody else's business. The doctor, the family, and God, that's it. Not necessarily in that order, but you know what I'm saying. So there it is. So anyway, moving on. This is amazing. TikTokers, you know I love TikTok. TikTokers flooded the tip website with fake info. Now, I did see this, like a Spanish cat. He was on there and he was talking about, yeah, the website is such and such, and we should all go there right now and just put in a bunch of fake information and clog up the website because what they're doing is wrong. And, you know, it's a tip website and they want citizens to drop a dime on fellow citizens and things going off or whatever. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Then a few days later, I hear this thing where they talk about how some teenagers, then I seen, you know, like a young girl on there and she was talking about it and she was saying, yeah, the website is prolifewhistleblower.com and go there now and put in fake information. She sold herself on TikTok, you know, putting in the fake information and all that stuff, and they saying that the website had got clogged and all that. So that's interesting right there. Once again, that's the kids on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Getting political, showing that they have a problem with something that's going on and then doing what they can do to thwart the activity. I think this is especially egregious because, come on, man, who does this? Who does it? Why? I mean, come on, man. Come on. Talking about prosecuting people, talking about people could get up to $10,000 or something like that. Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? Why are you asking citizens to drop dime on their fellow citizens? Jeez. You know, I mean, seriously, isn't it enough that some of these people stand outside abortion clinics and yell hateful things at these women as they try and go in and out the door? Now you got to do this? So, I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I don't like this at all. You know what I'm saying? And if you think I'm wrong, once again, you always in the pushback zone. Please, push back, baby. I live for it. Push back. But I just go on record as saying that, man. I'm not for that. But I've always been, you know, pro-choice. It's a woman's choice. It's a woman's body. I don't have babies. There it is. If men had babies, there'd be none. All right, I'm done. Moving on. Let's talk about the January 6th Commission. 600 people from 44 states have been charged in federal court. Most of the 50 guilty pleas are for nonviolent rioters. Cases for people who attacked police and other members of, who attack police and are members of far-right groups like the Proud Boys are progressing. So there are a lot of these cases against people who attacked police and some of these people who are in the Proud Boys, and there was another group that they were saying was there. I can't remember their name, but you know who these people are. You've seen them before and heard about them. Those cases are progressing. Kevin McCarthy has vowed to make telecommunication companies pay if they comply with federal subpoenas for lawmakers to hand over phone records. And that's, number one, he can't do that because that's commonplace. When there's a school shooting, what's the first thing they do? They get the shooter's cell phone and then they get the phone records. Who was he talking to right before he did this? Who did he talk to after he did this? If he was alive or whatever. You know, they want all of that and they get all of it quick. That's extremely legal and happens all the time. So Mr. McCarthy cannot stop that. But ask yourself, why would he want to stop that? Guilty much? Man, because that man is guilty. Come on. We all know about the conversation he had with Trump where he asked Trump to call off his dogs and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it, and he told him, no, these are Trump people. And he said, well, Kevin, I guess they're more upset about the election than you are. And left him in the lurch. Yeah. He don't want people to hear that. I don't know why. We already know about it. I just quoted it. We already know about it. But I guess he don't want there's probably even more damning evidence than that to come out. Jim Jordan, some of these other buffoons, they all have admitted to talking to him that day. So their phone records are going to be subpoenaed. They said that Benny Thompson, he's like a high-ranking Democrat. He's leading this January 6th inquiry commission. They said he has subpoena power, right? So if these guys don't want to come in, they can be arrested and be made to come in. Wow, isn't that interesting? These dudes can be arrested and made to come in and testify. And a lot of them incriminated themselves. They incriminated themselves when they got in bed with a criminal named Trump. But now they have really incriminated themselves with this, being all upset at the telecommunication companies. Oh, that's a breach of my civil rights, and you better not turn over those phone records. Well, why would you care about them looking at your phone records if you weren't guilty? Because you are guilty. These people aren't even smooth criminals. They are bumbling criminals. Okay. They're not even good at crime. They're not even good at it. They are horrible at it. But they persist on doing it. And they will continue to suck, I guess, because that's legal. They do that all the time. That's the first thing that they do whenever anybody commits a crime, the first thing the police are going to do is be like, where's the cell phone? How about this? Your whole life is in your cell phone. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. All the people you're talking to, all the places that you visit online, every little appointment that you had is probably in the little planner thing that's in your phone. Your whole life is in your cell phone. What do you think the police are going to do, right? When they're doing an investigation of you and your wrongdoing. And then lo and behold, hold up, these are conversations that you had on said device. So why would they not subpoena that, Mr. McCarthy? These people are bumbling idiots. God help them. But that is what it is. We'll see how far that gets him. Nowhere, because there's absolutely nothing that he can do about that. They're going to have to give those records. They're going to have to turn them over. They're going to have to come in. They're going to have to testify. There'll probably be a lot of pleading the fifth. They can do that. There'll be a lot of pleading the fifth. So we'll see where this thing goes, but I'm excited to see where it goes. It's entertainment, if nothing else. Anyway, moving on to some sad stuff. COVID is still doing its thing all over the USA. School district in Georgia was shut down after 2 weeks. 76 students and 67 staff got COVID. 679 students were put into quarantine. And there won't be any virtual sessions. So I guess this school did not make a contingency plan thinking, hey, everything is all good. They've opened everything up. We're going to go ahead and send these kids to school. Sent these kids to school. Now 679 of these kids are in quarantine. And they don't have any way to teach them because they did not set up for any virtual activities. There you go. And I bet you this is commonplace in America. That's why I just wanted to shine a light right there on this right here happening in Georgia. But this is commonplace with a lot of these districts because especially in these Republican-led states, it is what it is. You have a lot of them who are beholden to Trump, who are beholden to Trump's base. They refuse to put in mask mandates, and then they want to have irony with teachers who have the audacity to wear a mask, with students who have the audacity to wear a mask, with parents who have the audacity to send their kids to school with a mask. And here's what you get. You see what I'm saying? Here's what you get. You get situations like this where people have gotten sick, right? And there was no contingency plan. Somebody should have seen this coming and been like, man, let's at least have maybe some kind of slick way to teach these kids at home or something. Make sure people got computers and Wi-Fi and all of that just in case people come to school and get sick. None of that. They said, oh, well, we're going to throw caution to the wind. They've opened everything up. Our government officials have said everything's okay. It must be okay. Boom. People sick. So there it is. I say that to say this. The federal government said that it will restore 100% of pay to any school officials who are punished for defying state mask mandates. Now, that's